Classic Hollywood had a long history of systemic racism, both on screen and behind the scenes. While many stars of the era were complicit in or benefited from racist systems, a few were known or alleged to have held explicitly racist views or supported discriminatory policies. Below is a list of some classic Hollywood celebrities who were associated with racism either through documented statements, political affiliations, or behavior. Walt Disney, a towering figure in entertainment history, has been the subject of long-standing allegations of racism and anti-Semitism. While there's no definitive proof that Disney held overtly racist beliefs, several former employees claimed he made racist jokes and tolerated discriminatory attitudes within his studio. His early animated works have also drawn criticism for their racially insensitive portrayals. For example, Dumbo, 1941, features a group of jive-talking crows, one even named Jim Crow, seen by many as a caricature of black stereotypes. Another controversial production, Song of the South, 1946, has been widely condemned for its romanticized depiction of the post-Civil War South and for marginalizing black voices. Though Disney supporters argue that he was a product of his time, others point out that many of his contemporaries spoke out against racism. Today, Disney's legacy is complicated. While his contributions to animation are undeniable, the racial insensitivity in some of his work continues to spark debate and reassessment. These discussions have influenced how Disney films are presented to modern audiences, including content warnings on Disney+. John Wayne, one of Hollywood's most iconic Western film stars, has faced widespread criticism for his openly racist and homophobic remarks. In a 1971 Playboy interview, he stated, "I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility," a comment that has since overshadowed his cinematic legacy. He also disparaged Native Americans and expressed views that were dismissive of civil rights movements. These remarks reflect not only personal prejudice but also a broader culture of racism that was often normalized in mid-20th century Hollywood. While Wayne's defenders argue that he was simply a product of his time, many contemporaries rejected such views, suggesting he held more extreme positions than some peers. His legacy has come under renewed scrutiny in recent years, with growing public pressure to remove his name from buildings and institutions, such as the John Wayne Airport in Orange County. Today, while Wayne remains a towering figure in film history, his off-screen beliefs continue to generate debate, prompting reconsideration of how society honors public figures with controversial pasts. Mickey Rooney, a celebrated actor of Hollywood's golden age, remains a controversial figure due to his portrayal of Mr. Yunioshi in Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961. In the film, Rooney played the Japanese landlord in exaggerated makeup, buck teeth, and a heavy, stereotypical accent. The performance, intended as comic relief at the time, is now widely recognized as one of the most offensive examples of yellowface in film history. It reinforced harmful stereotypes and contributed to the broader marginalization of Asian Americans in Hollywood. While the film itself remains a classic in popular culture, Rooney's role is often cited as a glaring example of the racism normalized in mid-century cinema. In later years, Rooney expressed surprise and sadness at the backlash, claiming he never intended to offend and had only tried to follow the director's vision. Nonetheless, the legacy of the role continues to draw criticism and has sparked important conversations about racial representation in media. Today, it stands as a reminder of how deeply ingrained racial caricatures once were in mainstream entertainment. Clark Gable, often dubbed the King of Hollywood, had a complex legacy when it comes to race. On one hand, he is remembered for taking a stand during the filming of Gone with the Wind, 1939, by reportedly threatening to quit if black actors were barred from using the same facilities as white actors on set. This action earned him praise as a rare ally to African Americans in an industry steeped in racism. However, Gable's record is far from spotless. Earlier in his career, he performed in blackface in the 1931 film Dance, Fools, Dance, a now widely condemned practice that was once common in Hollywood. Furthermore, despite his fame and influence, Gable never publicly denounced segregation or other racial injustices prevalent during his lifetime. While he showed moments of individual support, especially for Hattie McDaniel and other black colleagues, he did not use his public platform to advocate for broader social change. Today, Gable's legacy is viewed with nuance, acknowledging both his progressive moments and his complicity in a system that marginalized non-white actors. Griffith, one of early cinema's most influential directors, is best known for his 1915 film The Birth of a Nation. While the film is often praised for its groundbreaking cinematic techniques, such as cross-cutting, close-ups, and large-scale battle scenes, it is equally infamous for its overt racism. The Birth of a Nation portrays African Americans in dehumanizing ways, often using white actors in blackface, and glorifies the Ku Klux Klan as heroic saviors of the post-Civil War South. The film sparked national protests from the NAACP and civil rights groups, who condemned its dangerous racial stereotypes and incitement of racial violence. Despite public outcry, the film was a massive commercial success and had a lasting impact on the film industry and American society. Griffith later attempted to address the backlash with his 1916 film Intolerance, but he never fully renounced the racist themes of The Birth of a Nation. Though revered for advancing cinematic storytelling, Griffith's legacy remains deeply tarnished by his role in using film to promote white supremacist ideology. His work is a stark reminder of cinema's power to influence culture, for better or worse. Lilian Gish, often hailed as the First Lady of American cinema, had a career that spanned over 70 years, becoming one of silent film's most revered actresses. However, her legacy is complicated by her prominent role in D. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation, 1915, a film widely criticized for its racist content and glorification of the Ku Klux Klan. Gish played the lead female role and maintained a close professional relationship with Griffith throughout much of her early career. While there is no evidence that Gish herself espoused racist views, her continued praise of Griffith and her silence regarding the film's damaging legacy have drawn criticism. In 2019, Bowling Green State University removed her name from its campus theater following student protests, citing her association with The Birth of a Nation. Supporters argued that Gish was being unfairly punished for her collaboration as a young actress, while others saw the move as part of a necessary reckoning with the racist history of early Hollywood. Today, her career is viewed through a more critical lens that balances her artistic achievements with her participation in a harmful and influential film. Laurence Olivier, one of the most acclaimed actors in theatrical and film history, drew significant criticism for his portrayal of Othello in the 1965 film adaptation of Shakespeare's play. Olivier, a white British actor, darkened his skin with makeup and adopted a voice and accent that many later described as exaggerated and offensive. At the time, the performance was lauded by critics, earning him an Academy Award nomination. However, modern audiences and scholars have re-evaluated the role, now widely condemning it as an egregious example of blackface and racial insensitivity. The decision to have a white actor portray a black character not only reinforced harmful stereotypes but also denied opportunities to black performers capable of taking on the complex role. Olivier defended his choice as being faithful to theatrical tradition, but critics argue that the production failed to evolve with the changing social climate of the 1960s, especially amid the civil rights movement. Today, his Othello serves as a cautionary example of how even celebrated artists can perpetuate exclusionary practices when diversity and authentic representation are ignored. Al Jolson, a major entertainment figure in the early 20th century, is best known for starring in The Jazz Singer, 1927, the first feature-length film with synchronized dialogue. While the film marked a turning point in cinema history, it also became infamous for Jolson's use of blackface, a theatrical convention where white performers darkened their skin to portray caricatured black characters. Jolson frequently used blackface in his vaudeville acts and films, a practice now recognized as deeply racist and dehumanizing. Despite this, Jolson's legacy is complicated. He was known to publicly support black performers and advocated for racial integration in show business. He hired and praised black musicians, fought against segregation in theaters, and helped promote black talent during an era when most white entertainers did not. Supporters argue that Jolson was unusually progressive for his time, while critics contend that his participation in blackface, regardless of intent, reinforced damaging stereotypes. Today, Jolson is viewed as a symbol of both early cinematic innovation and the normalization of racism in American entertainment. His career continues to prompt debate about race, performance, and representation in media history. Marlon Brando, one of Hollywood's most iconic actors, is often celebrated not only for his groundbreaking performances but also for his strong stance against racism and social injustice. In 1973, Brando famously declined the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in The Godfather, 1972, sending Native American activist Sachin Littlefeather to decline the award on his behalf. His protest was a response to the mistreatment of Native Americans in Hollywood and their portrayal in films. Brando was outspoken about the entertainment industry's discriminatory practices and its failure to provide authentic, respectful representations of indigenous peoples. His refusal to accept the Oscar was a powerful act of solidarity and helped raise awareness about issues of racial inequality in Hollywood. While Brando's career was not without controversy, particularly in his personal life, his advocacy for marginalized communities, including his support for Black and Native American rights, marked him as one of the few Hollywood stars to use his platform for activism. His actions contributed to the changing tides in Hollywood, pushing for more diverse and honest portrayals of racial issues in film. Judy Garland, one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, is often remembered for her iconic role in The Wizard of Oz, 1939, and her enduring contributions to film and music. However, her career also includes a controversial moment. At the age of 16, she performed in blackface in the 1938 film Everybody Sing. Garland's performance, which was a typical part of many films at the time, reflects the widespread racial insensitivity in Hollywood during the 1930s. Although there is no evidence that Garland personally held racist views, this scene is a reminder of how normalized racist practices were in the entertainment industry during her early career. Garland's involvement in such scenes was likely due to industry pressures rather than any personal endorsement of racial stereotypes. Later in her life, she became an advocate for greater inclusion and fairness in the entertainment world, but her early career was still marred by these racially problematic portrayals. Today, her legacy is complex, as she is remembered for both her immense talent and her participation in Hollywood's troubling racial practices. Shirley Temple, one of Hollywood's most famous child stars, is remembered for her charming performances and the joy she brought to audiences during the Great Depression. In her films, she often danced alongside Black actor Bill "Bojangles" Robinson, which was groundbreaking at the time for its positive portrayal of an interracial friendship. However, Temple's career also reflects the racial attitudes of the era, with her films featuring racially stereotyped characters and settings. For instance, in movies like The Little Colonel, 1935, Temple performed alongside Robinson in a scene that was praised for its portrayal of racial harmony, yet the film's context still reinforced segregationist views and limited opportunities for Black actors. While Temple herself was not known to express racist views, she was a product of her time, and her early films often mirrored the prejudiced attitudes prevalent in Hollywood. Despite her innocent charm, these films reflect the racial inequality in Hollywood and society during the 1930s. Temple's legacy is thus a complex one. She broke barriers for Black actors, but her films also played a role in perpetuating harmful racial stereotypes. Bing Crosby, one of the most popular entertainers of the 20th century, is best known for his smooth vocals and iconic recordings like White Christmas. However, his early career included participation in racially insensitive performances that reflect the broader culture of systemic racism in Hollywood. In the 1943 film Dixie, Crosby appeared in blackface, a practice widely accepted at the time but now recognized as deeply offensive. The film romanticized the minstrel tradition, portraying it as a form of innocent entertainment while ignoring its demeaning portrayal of Black people. Crosby also took part in radio and stage performances that included racial caricatures common in that era. While there is no public record of Crosby expressing explicitly racist views, his willingness to participate in such portrayals without criticism or reflection underscores how normalized racism was in mainstream American entertainment. Today, Crosby's legacy is viewed with a more critical eye, acknowledging his musical and cinematic contributions while also recognizing the racial insensitivity of some of his work. His career serves as a reminder of how even beloved cultural icons contributed to the perpetuation of harmful racial stereotypes. Fred Astaire, widely regarded as one of the greatest dancers in film history, left an enduring mark on Hollywood through his elegant performances and choreography. However, his legacy includes a controversial moment that highlights the racial insensitivity common in early 20th century entertainment. In the 1936 film Swing Time, Astaire performed a dance number in blackface as a tribute to legendary black tap dancer Bill "Bojangles" Robinson. While Astaire reportedly intended the performance as an homage, the use of blackface, regardless of intent, has come to be recognized as offensive and deeply rooted in a history of mocking and dehumanizing Black people. The routine, though technically impressive, reinforced racial caricatures that were prevalent in Hollywood at the time and excluded Black performers from opportunities to represent themselves. Unlike Robinson, who faced discrimination despite his talent, Astaire received praise and success performing in a racially coded style that Black artists had pioneered. Today, Astaire's blackface scene in Swing Time is seen as a stain on an otherwise celebrated career and serves as a reminder of the ways in which racism was embedded in American popular culture. The Charlie Chan film series, which ran from the 1920s through the 1940s, remains one of the most enduring examples of racial stereotyping in classic Hollywood. The titular character, a Chinese-American detective, was portrayed by white actors, most notably Warner Oland and later Sidney Toler, using yellowface, a practice involving makeup, prosthetics, and exaggerated accents to mimic East Asian appearance and speech. These portrayals, while intended to depict Chan as wise and honorable, nonetheless relied on racial caricatures that reinforced Western stereotypes of Asians as mysterious, overly polite, and inscrutable. The series also sidelined real Asian actors, who were relegated to minor or comic relief roles, if cast at all. While audiences of the time embraced the films, modern critics view them as deeply problematic for both their exclusionary casting and their complicity in shaping negative perceptions of Asian people in American culture. The Charlie Chan character, as presented by Oland and Toler, has become emblematic of Hollywood's long history of marginalizing minorities through both representation and employment practices. Today, the series serves as a cautionary example of how normalized racism was in the entertainment industry.